Hey there, Pisces. Welcome. We are going to do a bonus reading. We're going to do kind of like another deeper questions reading like I did a couple weeks ago. This one is going to be for the rest of the year. We have a lot of stuff going on at the end of the year here. Or in the last part of this year, I should say, the two eclipses, planets changing signs, Mercury, not Mercury, Neptune and Saturn retrograding into Aries, back from Aries into Pisces, so, we have like a lot of this like big time change stuff. And also I think with Neptune kind of going into Pisces one last time, it's kind of like one last chance for everyone to work on the impossible dream. And right here, 7 of Cups. So again, I would definitely something to think about, and especially for you as a Pisces with the 7 of Cups. And I think it would be a good time to like work on something that you've been thinking is impossible. I knew this would probably come up for you. I mean, the whole that's the whole point of Neptune and Pisces. So, again, even though it will be moving back into Aries in January of next year, like I said, we have like one last chance here to kind of manifest something that you're trying to manifest. So, there you go. Your first row is going to represent what you need to hear right now. And you have the Strength and Success card, this Lion card, and you also have this Peace and Serenity card as well. And so again, I think that it kind of makes sense. I'm hearing the word patience here. Normally that's not the Strength card. Yes, I understand that, but normally the Strength card would represent patience. It's almost like you need to stick with something is what's popping into my head here, Pisces, and that's what's popping into my head for you here. I also feel like you need to not get too impatient for something here. I'm gonna pull you another row. Is that okay? We're making this up on the fly right now. So I'm gonna pull you an extra row, and we're gonna call it love. And I'm gonna add this to my list for everybody else as well. So we're gonna look and see what's going on for love for everybody. Sure, we'll do 5. I did 5 last time, and I don't know why I didn't decide to do it this time, but here you go. We're gonna look into it. But what I would say here is, like, I feel like you need to be patient with someone or something. Like, I'm not telling you what to do. And again, I definitely don't encourage people to, like, wait forever, It's like I've heard too many stories over the years where people are like, I've spent all this time with a person who says that they're not ready, and I've been waiting for, 19 years, and they're still not ready. I'm like, well, that person's never going to be ready, clearly, right? So we're not talking about waiting for frickin' ever here. But, I do feel like some of you, it's like, I don't know, like I got it in this first row. It kind of made me want to pull this extra row for you. It's like some of you might meet a person, a very specific message, like you might meet a person at the end of the year here. Today I'm doing these videos starting on August 15th is when I'm recording this. It'll be published on the 16th, so middle of August till the end of the year. I feel that you could meet a person who is like moving slowly. It's like maybe you're reading into it as them being sneaky, but I don't think so. This is just my intuitive feeling. I feel that the Page of Cups, 7 of Cups, High Priestess, I think it's just going differently than what you're used to, which could be a good thing. So, specifically for those of you who are looking for love, I would, if you are meeting a person who is slow, they might just move slower, And again, I actually don't think it's a bad thing. Now, here's the difference. Again, if you're dealing with a person who constantly is telling you that, oh, they're not ready and, all this other BS, then leave, obviously, right? Don't get stuck in something for like 19 years. So that's not the type of slow that we're talking about here. It's just like, maybe instead of, having a first kiss on the first date, it's like maybe this person is on the 4th date, right? Big frickin' deal. So, what I would say here is, again, like, we're talking about balance, right? The other thing I'm getting here, Pisces, that's like going to be critically important for you is like sticking with something is definitely popping into my head. With the patience message on the Lion card says strength and success, peace and serenity. It's like almost like this first row is saying to me that something is definitely going to work. It's like already worked. It's already done. It's like the universe is saying to me, a success is set in stone, as crazy as that sounds here for you, but you have to stick with it, if you're working on something. So, especially for those of you that are working on new projects, new ideas, new businesses, I think what you need to hear right now is that it's like something, it might not look like it's happening as quickly as you want, but it is. Like, I think the success is set in stone. You just need to not give up is basically what that's saying. You have the 7 of Cups here. 7 of Cups can be spoiled for choice. Again, I literally could have told you this card would have come up in this reading, because Neptune going into Pisces one last time. it's like, you really need to go for something hard. I know I say this to you all the time, but again, this is your last freaking chance, Pisces. So, like, I would take advantage of it, is, doing something hard, doing something impossible, doing something, like taking your wildest dream and multiplying it by 1,000, as crazy as that sounds. Because again, I don't know, we'll all be dead next time Neptune comes back to Pisces. So this is our chance. This is your chance to take advantage of this. And even if you did live until the next time, again, we're not going to, next time, Saturn won't be moving back into Aries at exactly the same time. We won't have all these major planets that have just shifted signs over the past year. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's saying, like, go for it, right? You show up here in this row as well, which puts you in a position of power and strength and allows you to get what you want from the reading. So I think that you're showing up in a very powerful position here at the end of this year, which is great. And I think, this is basically saying trust your intuition, trust your inner guidance. Things will go very well for you if you do that, Pisces. So there you go. But let's see what's coming up for you. Can't make this up. With the Page of Cups, you have the Two of Cups. Definitely a perfect match that could be coming in for you with that Page of Cups. So, and look, how funny is it that, this card is like, these two people are meant to look very different. This is meant to represent a person who is very different than your usual type. So, definitely could be a very different type, but I think the approach is different, like how this comes together is going to be different for you, Pisces. With the Seven of Cups, you can't make it up. I literally said it. I literally said the Strength card and Patience. So there you go, Pisces. I think that being patient with your dream or something, not only love, but, again, this could also be, something that you're working on or working towards. I think you need to be patient with something and see it through to the end. It's like something is going to require patience, So there you go. With the High Priestess, you have the Hermit. So again, we are kind of like in a little bit of a hermity time. So I do think it's time for all of us to shine bright. We're in a time where we have to be a living example. We have to, shine our skills out into the world and, all that other good stuff. So I definitely would. Next, we're going to look at what you're outgrowing at this time. And you have this Creating and Writing card and this Fire Spirit card. Like, what's popping into my head is like hard work is what you're outgrowing with this card, or like things needing to be a struggle. That's what I'm kind of getting here intuitively. And I kind of feel like you're letting that part of your life go. And by the way, with the Creating and Writing card, even though we're looking at what you're outgrowing at this time, at the end of the year here, for the rest of the year, I actually feel like some of you are going to be creating and writing. So again, I read intuitively, and I don't think this is something you're releasing at all. If anything, I think you could be becoming more creative, and some of you could start writing and things like that with those cards. I'm also getting like internal scripting though. Like, one thing that you definitely could be outgrowing is the words, like how you talk to yourself, And I think we've talked about that before. I think that would be a good thing. Obviously, I think speaking to yourself more on a better, nicer level would be good for you. I also think there's something, like, this is going to sound very random, but I do think there's something about anger that you could be releasing. Something that you're angry about, and it's like sometimes, like, as a Pisces, I totally get it, right? Sometimes I think Pisces says, like, I'm not an angry person, but it's like, I think anger can, represent in different ways. And I don't think there's anything wrong with anger in the first place. We have emotions for a reason, right? But it's like, I think when we hold those things in, that's when it becomes a problem, right? And so I think that there is like maybe an anger or something that you have been angry about for a long time. Maybe you don't even realize it, right? It's like, I think if things happen when we're children, like 2 years old, it's like our 2-year-old brain, just makes stuff up, right? Or just can't tell the difference between, something that's, a bad thing and a good thing or whatever. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but it's like there really could be some old anger issues that you're releasing, and I think that would be good for you. You have the Wheel of Fortune, the Four of Swords, and the Four of Wands. I think what you're releasing here with this card, or what you're outgrowing, is like the need for things to work right away. The need for something to be a sure thing. It's almost like you're becoming more of a little bit of a risk taker in that sense. It's like, again, I don't have a good example, but I definitely have known people in my life where it's like they won't do anything that isn't a sure thing, and those people can actually still become very successful. Like I can think of several off the top of my head where it's like they're good in business, but it's like they just do what always works. They don't really kind of like innovate or try anything new. And again, if it works, it works. Like I'm not hating on that at all, but at the same time, I think letting go of that. We are in the time of the trailblazer. We have to be a trailblazer. We have to be innovative right now. And I feel with this Wheel of Fortune, it's like there's a little bit of that energy here that's going on for you. I also kind of feel like you're believing, or it's like you're doing things that could create a little bit more luck for you, and I think that would be a good thing. You have the Four Swords. I do feel like some of you could be resting, relaxing, recovering a little bit more. He's hoping and praying for a blessing. And, in a lot of ways, I do think Pisces is kind of like creating their own blessings at this time. So you could be, what you have outgrown is just like I think you're more happening to life. It's like you're doing things more on purpose is what I'm trying to spit out here clearly. Instead of like just like hoping that things will happen, I think you're taking a little bit more action with the Four Swords moving forward. This is like a long-term lesson is what's popping into my head here with this card. This is something that you've had to learn. It's like I think the funny thing about being a Pisces is it's like sometimes Pisces can ignore a problem and it literally will go away. It literally will just stop, right? Through ignoring it and redirecting your focus. But I don't know. I just see you being a little bit more action oriented. You have the Four Wands. Yeah, it's like I think this is going to be a big theme for you from now until probably the next several years is freedom. It's like I think there are things that Pisces wants right now and that Pisces doesn't have. And Pisces could be thinking to themselves like, oh, I have to work hard to do these things. But it's like that's what you're outgrowing is that thought. Like, oh, this should be a struggle. And I kind of said this at the beginning of the reading, but it's kind of what I get here. The Four Wands, sure, it can be marriage, but it really is a card of freedom and setting yourself free from something. And I feel that you're letting go of the struggle, basically. With the Wheel of Fortune, you have the Eight of Swords. Yes, a lot of you could be setting yourself free from something that's has been keeping you stuck. I think maybe flexibility is a good word here. Pisces is pretty flexible, but we all probably could be better at being flexible, and I think that's what's going on here with that card. Next, with the Four Swords, you have the Three of Cups. Yeah, the other thing is like doing things alone, right? It's like I think a lot of you could be becoming more social. A lot of you could be asking for help. And even though this is from now until the end of the year, the rest of 2025, I think this is something that you'll probably be working on for several years to come, Pisces. It is definitely a focus for you, I believe, personally. And, yeah, sure, maybe it's not intuitive. Maybe this is more of a personal belief that I have. But I don't know. Sometimes my personal beliefs are intuitive. I don't know. So, again, I think that a lot of you could be, like, asking for help from people more. All that stuff would be good for you. With the Four Wands, you have the Page of Pentacles and the King of Swords. I do feel like some of you could be attracting love through giving up on love. I'm not saying you're giving up on love. I want to make it clear. But I think it's like sometimes I think when we throw our hands up and we just say, whatever, I'm not going to try anymore, that's when something can work, right? And so if you are, we're going to look at love in your last row here, Pisces, but it's like I do believe that sometimes we can care about something too much. And then, because we're thinking about it all the time and because, we're constantly focusing on it, we don't get it. And sometimes when we do just give up, right? It's not like you're giving up on love. I want to be careful with my words here, but, it's like sometimes I think when we just say, you know what, I surrender, right? It's like that's when it happens. Next, we're going to look at one move that could change everything for you. So what could you do right now between now and the end of the year that would change your life, right? You have the Sun card. It says the sun is coming to shine its light to what's been kept hidden to reveal the truth. You have this details card. It says you need to look at something more closely. What you need to know lies in the details. So, again, there could be something in the details of something that you're working on. And it's like the details could hold the answer that could lead to a major change. I do feel like this has to do with your purpose because we start with the Judgment card. And so it's like I do feel like some Pisces feel a little bit off purpose or, remember what I said. It's like you need to do something on purpose. I kind of said this, I think, at the beginning of the reading. I was getting the words that you're more doing things on purpose, right? And I feel that would be important for you, but you have to pay attention to the details, clearly, with these cards. You have the Judgment card, the Five of Pentacles, and the Knight of Swords. The other thing that's popping into my head here, Pisces, with this card, the Judgment card, is I feel like emotionally that letting go of the past would be a really good exercise for you. But like I'm not talking about, but I'm talking about everything. It's like, who you thought you would be, where you thought you would be at this point in your life, experiences you thought you had, like releasing those expectations that you've put on yourself. That's really what this is. That's what's popping into my head. Sometimes I think Pisces definitely is a sign that puts too much pressure on themselves, I think, personally. And, so again, I think letting go of those expectations or doing exercises, like there might be some, forgiveness exercises or, some things you need to do with yourself, on yourself, where you say, I forgive myself for not doing these things or whatever. And I don't know, it's popping into my head as very important. So, I think I would do it. The other thing is that, again, a lot of you could be like discovering a deeper purpose. And I'm hearing also that this is something that you're going to be working on for a very long period of time. Like I literally think this is your next like 20 years, at least minimum. But, it's like whatever you're working on right now, purpose-wise, is going to like define your next 20 years. I'm not trying to be dramatic here, but, again, I do think there is a shift in purpose. You have the Five of Pentacles. Yes, Pisces needs to let go of poverty consciousness. We talk about this every single reading, that it's time for Pisces to make money, right? And so the Five of Pentacles says you need to stop calling attention to your weaknesses and you need to focus on your strengths. You need to double down on your strengths. Again, in this row, we are looking at what one move that would change everything for you right now, Pisces. And again, the one move you can make with the Five of Pentacles is to double down on your strengths. Double down on the things that you're good at. And don't try to improve the weaknesses. Don't even call attention to all your weaknesses. Focus on what you're good at. You have the Knight of Swords. Yeah, slowing things down. We talked about patience, strength card at the beginning of the reading, so definitely no rushing at this time. I do feel like there is this element of this reading. Like, it's a good reading. Good stuff coming up here for sure. But there's like an element of the reading of wanting things to happen faster, which I totally understand. Of course, who doesn't? But I do think there is a need to kind of like slow things down or, being willing to allow things to happen in their own time. With the Judgment card, you have the Three of Swords. Yes, let go and heal from the past. Three of Swords is temporary. I always say the Three of Swords really is a card of forgiveness. We have to remove these three swords from this heart so that we can heal. And that's all we have to do with the Three of Swords. And that's what I would do with the Three of Swords is like, heal from the past, let go of the past, and I think you'll be fine. With the Five of Pentacles, you have the King of Wands. Yeah, it's like about being bold, being assertive, going for something. I always say, I think I've said this to Cancer before, but I'll say it to you. It's like, what would you do if you were 1,000 times more bold and assertive and stronger and more courageous? It's like, what would that person look like? What would that person do? And I think that is the energy that you need to match here, Pisces. It's almost like that irrational self-confidence. I think that would be very beneficial. Like using irrational self-confidence for the rest of the year, on things that you're working on personally, your personal projects, your purpose, things like that. Doing that could be very beneficial. With the Knight of Swords, you have the Knight of Swords. Yes, no rushing. So, basically, when a card repeats itself, it's the universe saying I meant what I said. Next, we're going to look at what blessings are coming in for you at this time. You have this card. It says Heart's Desires Manifesting. There you go. You have this Rain card. It says Gifts. So that is amazing. Definitely could be manifesting some desires and gifts coming in for you. I also feel like you're getting into a more fertile period of time because we have the Nine of Pentacles showing up first here. The Nine of Pentacles is a very good card. It's a card of gratitude and luxuries. I think expressing gratitude could help you probably manifest some desires or some things to be grateful for faster, which would be great. But she has these grapes behind her, and these grapes in the tarot represent something that's very difficult to grow, but she can do it well. That's the whole point of the Nine of Pentacles, is that she has a skill. It's almost like the rain is coming to rain on your gifts, but to get them to grow. This is like a good thing. I think maybe for many years, Pisces, this is definitely true, that you have had a hard time, getting people to recognize your worth, your value, like what you bring to the table in work and business. in love and, spiritually everywhere, right? Pretty much with everything. And it's almost like the universe is bringing some rain, but this is like good rain, not bad rain. This is rain that, brings abundance. This is rain that is going to be the energy you need to get something, to grow, right? And so I think that's like one of the blessings that could be coming in for you at this time. The other thing I'm getting here is focus. But this is like a good thing. If you have been feeling out of focus or like you can't focus on work or getting things done over the past few months, I think that focus is returning. Maybe the fire is returning. The desire to do something, the desire to take action, is coming back for you. And I think that would be great. You have the Nine of Cups, literally a wish. I mean, this card says heart's desires manifesting. Definitely could be Nine of Cups. I would make a wish at this time with this card, Pisces, because I think you could get a wish if you want it. Or you could get something that is going to bring a lot of fulfillment and joy into your life, which is great. I think that, of course, as always, matching energy would be very good for you as well. You have the Three of Cups again, so you have the Three of Cups twice in your reading. Some of you, I do feel this could be love. The Three of Cups can be a reunion, but I don't really feel this is a past person, but I do feel like you could be attracting a past life person. So, this could be a person that you've had in past lives or whatever. The other funny thing about this card is that these three ladies are celebrating a harvest. So, it's clear to me that there are like literally blessings coming in for you in the form of a harvest. So, obviously, do the work. You're going to have to do the work to get these blessings, and it's not going to magically grow. But, it's like the universe is like clearly, creating the environment for the potential of growth. It's like maybe you've been in a drought and it's finally raining. So, it's like take advantage of it. With the Nine of Pentacles, you have the Queen of Wands. So definitely could be love as well that's coming in for you. King and Queen of Wands are divine counterparts. They have a lot of desire. But it's funny that I said desire in this row because, these two cards, Queen and King of Wands, they are cards that do represent having a lot of desire towards something. And so, it doesn't have to be love. I literally feel your desire is returning. Maybe you feel like you haven't been doing anything. Maybe you've been feeling lazy. Maybe you've been feeling like you have nothing to be excited about. It's like that could be a blessing that's coming in here for sure. With the Nine of Cups, here you go. You have the Judgment card again. So again, sometimes I think Judgment with the Nine of Cups just simply represents getting an answer. To me, it kind of represents maybe you having like prayed to the universe or asking the universe for guidance on like what to do next in general. Like maybe you've been saying to the universe, I don't know what excites me. I don't know what my skills are. I don't know what I'm good at. And it's like Judgment and Nine of Cups is the universe saying, this is what you're good at. It's like you're getting an answer. With the Three of Cups, you have the Star. Yeah, amazing. Really good reading. The Star can be like a wish or wish fulfillment coming in for you. Good things coming in for you just in general. Next, I don't know what I'm going to call the last row, but we're going to just say that it's love. So you have the Say No card. It says assert boundaries, strength, and self-worth. You have this Body card. It says self-care, sexuality, and vulnerability. Yes, the better you take care of yourself, the better results you're going to get. This is true for pretty much everyone, but definitely true for you, Pisces, for sure. Neptune, Saturn, going back into your first house, right? Especially Saturn. The better we treat ourselves, the more responsibility we take for things about ourselves, the better people treat us, the better results we get, the better, pretty much everything goes. So, I think that part of having Saturn in that first house is definitely going to be the better you take care of yourself, the better things can happen. So, definitely do it. The more self-care you can give yourself, the better. I also do feel that some of you, it's like, what's popping into my head here for love, especially for the rest of the year, number one, there definitely could be a person coming in. But I think you need to, like, stick to your it's like your no-nos here, Pisces. I don't know what I wanted to call that. But it's like, let's say that you have dealt with a bunch of people in the past who basically ignore you and, like, never talk to you and never text you and all that other stuff. It's like you're in a relationship alone. It's like, I don't think the universe is testing you, but I do think that you could be meeting some people or a person, like, between now and the end of the year. And, like, I feel like you could be meeting a lot of people, honestly, but, it's like you could be meeting a person where it's like I feel that they give off a lot of those warning signs, and I feel like the No card is saying, say no. Just don't get involved with something that looks like something from the past, right? And you'll be fine. You have the Five of Cups, the Seven of Swords, and the Three of Wands. Yeah, you have to do something different to find love. Three of Wands is literally that's the answer here in this row. Is that you have to push yourself outside of a comfort zone, or you have to do something differently in some way. And I think if you do that, good things will happen. I also think you need to, again, let go of the past. But I don't think this is talking about love. Like, as I think healing things from the past is going to be the thing that helps bring love in. But again, you could be healing traumas from when you were 2 years old. And, I think it would be worth it to do that. You have the Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords can be like lying, cheating, stealing. I would definitely be careful of like any people who are like that. But at the same time, again, Seven of Swords to me is a card of doing something differently. He also has these polka dots on his cloak, right? And polka dots in the tarot can represent taking something too seriously. And so, again, I said this earlier in the reading. If you're like, it looks to me like there's a new person coming in for you. Page of Pentacles, King of Swords. They might be a little slow. Might take a little time to get going, like I said. But what I would say here is, I said it on those two cards. I think that it's like once you stop like needing things to go a certain way, once you stop like trying, as weird as that sounds, it's like that's probably what's going to make this work, like a new connection. So, we need to not take things too seriously. This could also say that you're being sneaky, Pisces, and I'm not calling you out here or anything, but I'm not saying that you're being sneaky in the sneaky sense, but what I am saying is like sometimes I think we try to do things to get future relationships to work. It's like we come up with rules, or we kind of like we act a certain way that isn't who we really are, and that causes problems. And I just feel like this is saying don't do that. You have the Three of Wands. Yes, Three of Wands, a card of expansion. Obviously, you're going to have to get out into the world, Pisces, if you're looking for love. You're going to have to like go meet new people, put yourself out there. All that other stuff is, popping into my head. With the Five of Cups, yes, you have the boundaries card here. It says say no. It says assert boundaries. Seven of Wands is about having, drawing a line in the sand. It's about knowing this is what I'm willing to invite into my life. Everything below this point is not allowed into my life. And maybe you need to come up with a list of oh no no's here, Pisces, right? Maybe you're not clear. Maybe you haven't done that yet. And so, that could be a good exercise for you between now and the end of the year, is to say like, these are things that I'm not willing to allow into my life. And then you have to stick to that list, right? With the Seven of Swords, here you go. We have the Ten of Pentacles. Ten of Pentacles is everything you want and desire in your life. So, again, I think that there could be a very strong connection coming in between now and the end of the year. Looks a little bit slow. King of Swords usually is, same with the Page of Pentacles, although you have the King of Wands and the Queen of Wands. So, that it could be something that starts slow and then speeds up. So, that's what I'll say there. Ten of Pentacles is building, leaving a legacy. So it's about really finding something long-term. With the Three of Wands, here you go. You have the Empress. Yes, you are very attractive at this time, but you have to put yourself out there for people to find you attractive, right? She has to get attention. And isn't it funny that you have the star right next to her? It's like, you have to put yourself in a position where people can see you, is kind of what's popping into my head. But there you go, Pisces. That's your reading. Looks pretty good. I think there's tons of things that you could do between now and the end of the year here. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your month.